All right, today we're going to dive into the core beliefs of Christianity. But we're not going to look at it like a list of rules or doctrines. Instead, we're going to explore it as one single powerful story. A story with a main character, a huge conflict, and a resolution that has, well, literally shaped history. Let's get into it.
So right at the heart of this whole story is a claim that is pretty startling. And you know what? It might not be what you think it is. We'll get to it, I promise. But first, we need to meet the protagonist.
The Christian story kicks off with God. But, and this is a big but, it's a very unique and honestly a pretty complex idea of who or what God is.
The story actually starts with a number, 3, as in 3 distinct persons. But hold on, the story also starts with the number 1 God. So wait a minute, how do you get 3 persons and 1 God? How does that work?
Well, this concept has a name, the Trinity. Now, this isn't about 3 different gods, not at all. It's about relationship, communication, and love, all happening within a single divine being. It's a mystery, and Christians are the first to admit it's something way beyond our ability to fully wrap our heads around.
And these 3 persons have distinct roles. You've got the Father, the creator of everything, the Son, Jesus Christ, who actually enters our world, and the Holy Spirit, the divine presence that guides people. You see, at its very foundation, the Christian story is all about relationship.
Okay, but that raises a pretty big question. If God is this perfect, relational creator, why is the world so broken? What went wrong? And that question brings us to the central conflict of the story.
So we're moving into the second act of the Christian story. And this is where we meet the core problem, the main conflict. And it's all explained by one single powerful idea.
That idea is sin. Now, when you hear the word sin, you might just think of a list of don'ts, things you're not supposed to do. But in Christian thought, it's so much bigger than that. It's a fundamental separation, a rupture in the relationship between humanity and God, who is seen as the very source of life.
And here's the thing. It isn't just about the individual mistakes we all make. It's described as a deep-seated human condition, this impulse toward ourselves that affects every single one of us. It's a state of being that we just can't fix on our own.
There's this analogy that explains the dilemma perfectly. Think about it. A doctor who is sick can't heal himself. It just makes sense, right? If everyone is affected by the same condition, the cure has to come from somewhere, or someone, outside.
And that outside intervention is the huge turning point of the Christian story. It's a rescue mission that is, well, pretty much unthinkable, and it's designed to solve this problem of separation once and for all.
This is called the incarnation. And hey, remember that startling claim I mentioned at the very beginning? Well, this is it. The belief that God, the eternal Son, actually became fully human in the person of Jesus Christ. The most shocking claim isn't just that God exists, but that God became one of us.
And this is what makes it so mind-bending. The claim isn't that God was just wearing a human costume. No, the claim is that Jesus was, at the exact same time, fully human. He was born, he got tired, he felt grief, he actually died, and fully divine. The eternal, infinite Son of God. This is the Christian answer to the question, how far would God go to save humanity? The answer is all the way. So God enters the human story to solve this problem of separation. But how is the victory actually won? What does that look like? This brings us to the climax of the entire narrative.
And the climax is the resurrection. For Christians, this isn't just some comforting story about the afterlife. It is the most important event in all of human history. In fact, the Apostle Paul went so far as to write that if the resurrection didn't happen, the Christian faith is basically empty and meaningless.
The whole account is presented as a series of historical events. It goes like this. Jesus was crucified and buried. Then, on the 3rd day, he rose from the dead. And when he appeared to his followers, it wasn't as a ghost. It was in a transformed physical body.
So what's the whole point of the resurrection? Well, it's presented as the ultimate proof, the evidence that the core problem, that separation from God which leads to death, has been defeated. It's the declaration that sin and death have been conquered.
Okay, so the victory has been won. The problem is solved. But how does that victory get shared with everybody else? And that brings us to the final chapter of the story, the resolution.
And the resolution all comes down to a key concept in Christianity, grace. You can think of grace as God's freely given, completely unearned love and favor. The central idea here is that being restored to a right relationship with God is a gift. It's not something you can achieve or earn on your own. So here's kind of how it works. First, salvation is a gift, not a trophy you win for being good. Second, God is the one who makes the first move, who reaches out. Our part in all of this? It's simply faith, which is really just another word for trust. And this is an important piece. While good works don't earn you the gift, genuinely accepting it will inevitably lead to a transformed life.
And so we've walked through the whole narrative of Christianity, a relational God, a world in need, an unthinkable rescue, and a decisive victory that is shared with everyone as a gift. And that leaves us with one last profound question to think about. If God is all-powerful and all-loving, why would he choose this incredibly costly path to save us? What does the story reveal about the nature of love, justice, and power?